Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my August wrap up part 1. Now I'm filming this the day before this video goes out, so it's all better go well. Reading wise, it's been an okay month. In fact, it's been really good actually in comparison to last month. I've had 1 DNF, I've got 1 3-star, 7 4-stars, 5 4.5 stars and 4 5-stars. I've managed to somehow, even on the 15th, before I've read anything, finished 18 books, and I'm aiming to finish the 19th today because I think I might just read it solidly. I normally like to read, have 2 books on the go, but I think this one I've started a couple of days ago, but because of my darling mother wanting me to give her a book as part of a series, and I've had to add in extra books, I had to read a book quicker yesterday than I was planning. There were different books on here that weren't actually on my TBR because I ended up doing a buddy read with the lovely Charlotte from Coiny Reads. We buddy read The Miniaturist, and the day after this video goes live we would have finished The House of Fortune, so I'll show you that in a minute. So we buddy read those 2 books. I've got a book that was on July's TBR that's been finished this month because of the holiday. And I've got an extra couple of books that I've just added on. And then I've still got my 7 books that I'm adding on. So I've got live books and things like that. So basically, my TBR is just going kerfuffled this month. But that's okay, it's the summer holidays. And something that I said when I think I did my last July wrap up was that Danny from Danny's Book World had reminded me, but reading is supposed to be fun, and especially in the summer holidays, I need to go with my gut instinct. So, I don't want this video to be ridiculously long considering I've already read 18 books. Let's show you what I'm currently reading and then go over what I read. So the book that I'm aiming to finish in the next day or so is This Could Be Everything by Eva Rice. Technically it's historical fiction because it's set in the 90s, which I don't like that idea. But it's about February Kingdom, and she's a reclusive 19-year-old. So it is tackling agoraphobia and things like that, depression and anxiety I believe. And it's set when, in 1990, when the Happy Mondays were in the charts and Kate Moss is about to be. So this was one of my pink books, for Alice. I am actually enjoying it way more than I thought. I've already read 100 pages, but it is 413 pages. So I've got that to read today, and I've got to my pages for The House of Fortune. So they're the only ones I'm going to be reading this afternoon. I said this afternoon because everything has been running late. I've been doing my exercise routine, taking Thomas to the sweet shop, busy mummy jobs. So I'm over halfway through The House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. I am so glad I read The Miniaturist again, reread The Miniaturist before I read this, because you do need to read them in order, and you do need to have got a really good knowledge of The Miniaturist to read this, because otherwise it won't make as much sense. This is dark, but it's not as dark as The Miniaturist. When we get to The Miniaturist, I'll explain more. But this is a very, very, very good book, and I didn't like them. Yeah, I need to explain more. But basically, this is the story of Theobrand, who was in the first book. So I can't go into too much detail until I told you a little bit about The Miniaturist. But it's her story. We have Cornelia in it. We have Nella in it. We have someone else in it. So I'll tell you, I won't get into too much details, but it is a really, really good book and I'm really enjoying it. And then my classic reread and my big book for the month is Anna Karenina. I am halfway through that. It's a reread. It's bloody good. It's one of my classics that actually on a reread I'm really actually enjoying it way more than I expected to. So this is a big plus. Now to my flop of the month. I don't actually do that. I might actually do a flop of the month, and that is The Twiford Code by Janice Hallett. I really enjoyed The Appeal, but this is nowhere near as good. It was like a 2 to 2.5 star before the ending, but then luckily the ending was better, and that topped it up to 3 stars. I am going to read The Atherton Angels because I have heard that's supposed to be actually quite good. But this was just a floppity flop, and I'm pretty sure Charlie from Charles Heathcote thought that as well. But it's all written in phone format, audio files, conversations. I read it in a day, so that's okay, but it's a floppity flop flop flop. So that is Charity Shop all the way. The next one was the book that I read, my first book that I finished in the month, but the last book that, I was reading over July and August, and that is The Beach Holiday by Isabel Broom. It was, like I said, 4 stars, light summer beachy read, contemporary. I don't keep Isabel Broom's books. I read them, I get them on Charity Shop. I don't need to buy them full price. They are good, they're a good contemporary. This one is about, as aspiring novelist, Honor has all she's ever wanted to be is successful. So she basically tries to impress the father who abandoned her and the boyfriend who gave up on her. And it is a good book. I think it's set in America. It's okay. It's definitely talks about father-daughter relationships, which I found a bit challenging because it was round about. I was reading it on my dad's birthday. Would have been my dad's birthday. Part of it. It is a good book. Not amazing. Summer contemporary. Yeah, that's all I need to know. I don't think Mum would actually like that. I don't know. I'll put that to one side. Then, historical fiction book, and this is another Victoria Hislop book, The Sunrise. This I don't know if Mum will want, because it is very hard hitting. It's talking about the golden city of Famagusta, which where the Greek and Turkish Cypriots are enjoy a life of good fortune, and then there's the invasion, and it's based on truly what happened in that sort of time, when the Turks invaded the Greek island, and the differences between the two. Family story, very, very hard hitting, very emotional. It is amazingly written, but it's very, very hard hitting. So we'll go to Charity Shop. One that is very, completely the hand on my opposite of this, and this is The Soul Equation by Christine Lauren. They're two authors that write together under that name. And it's completely opposite. It's not a mum book. It is a fun Christine Lauren. I love her books. They are really fun and enjoyable, and I just thought, it's about whether genetics make a romance or whether is a romance. It's about a single mum who is close to her family, to her grandparents have brought her up. It does talk about a few things that are hard hitting, but it's about romance. It's got some saucy scenes in it. It's fun. It's good. It's a romance. Mum won't like that because it's got the saucy stuff in it though. Then to a book that, do I need to say any more? It's Dewey the small town library cat. I thought Alice had given me this, but she didn't. It was one that I bought myself, and it's about the library cat and how cats are amazing, and it's Dewey's story from kitten to all of the little cat's life, and about all the great things that cats can do. But it's also about the author. It's also about Vicky Myron, her story that goes alongside Dewey's story, and that's hard hitting because there are some bits in that. But it's about library. It's set in America. It's non-fiction, but it's set in the past a bit. I keep trying to decide whether I'm going to put the washing on the line, but really don't feel confident. Random, sorry, but yes, cat book, always good. 4 stars. That's what I needed. Actually, Mum might like that. That might be my mum book. That's my mum book. Yeah, she might like that. I have to have my separate piles for Mum and that. And then a good contemporary, Summer with My Sister by Lucy Diamond. It is about the sister relationship, which I am forever grateful for my 2 sisters. They're like my best friends. And Polly has always been the high flyer of the family, but with a glamorous lifestyle to match. But Claire is a single one with 2 children, struggling to make ends meet in a ramshackle cottage. The 2 sisters are poles apart, barely on speaking terms. And then Polly's fortunes turn upside down, and she ends up staying with her sister. And it's about their relationships, about how your lives can change, your priorities changing, things like that. Very good book, very good contemporary. 4 stars, but really good 4 stars. Then to my TBR jar book, and while I do that, I'm just going to move my books closer so I can reach them a bit easier. And this is Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. Actually, I'm going to put that that's going to be a keepy book. And this was actually my TBR jar, and it was a book that was given to me by Danny from Danny's Book World a few years ago, 2 years ago I believe. And it's a translated fiction. It is actually quite good. I read it in a day. It's a short but sweet book. I read it in a day. It was Madame Bovary is such a catastrophe, and her story is very sad and very down, but oh, I still really enjoyed it. I shouldn't have enjoyed it, but I really did enjoy it. It was just what I needed. It was tragic and depressing, but at the same breath dark and mysterious, kind of like Wuthering Heights kind of darkness. So if you like Wuthering Heights, this might actually be quite a good one, even though it's French. Even though it's set in France and stuff like that, and it's romantic heroine or middle class neurotic, flawed wife and mother, or passionate protester against conventions of the bourgeois society. I just thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really good, and I actually will reread that, so I'm gonna put that there. Then to my 4.5 stars. So yes, I'm sorry I'm not going into too much detail. The weather's a bit funny and I haven't eaten. So the one that I added onto the TBR and read it in like a day and a bit, and that was The Wedding at the Hedgehog Horo, which is the 4th book in the series. My mum has kindly bought the 5th book because she wants to read that straight after this. She's going to read the 5th one before I do. So these will appear randomly on my TBRs. I will probably read the second one in the second half of the month if mum can catch up. But this is about, literally it's about the wedding of Samantha. I can't go into detail because it is part of the series. This focuses on a new character, Phoebe, who we met in the last book, and Samantha, and it's got the Hedgehog Hollow, and it also talks about Samantha. Oh, it's just, I can't give spoilers, but it's a really good book. I will say there are some triggers for that, so you do need to be aware of the triggers. Because sometimes I don't like telling you them, but if you want to know what the triggers are with this, please ask me in private and I will tell you. But they were ones that I definitely felt like I kept having to pause it. And I'm sort of bad feeling it's going to rain soon, so I'm really angry on it. Then to my book, The Summer Wedding by Sarah Morgan. This is her book that came out last year. And it was a summer book, it was fun, it was about a wedding, it was about family. Again, there are a lot more triggers in this, but it is about the Catherine Swift and her 2 daughters, Adeline and Cassie, who are very different. They have their own stories, and Catherine has very different relationships with them, and they go to where she is in Corfu for her 4th wedding, and it's very much about family, very much about like different relationships. But again, there are triggers in this. If you want to know, please let me know, but I will not give spoilers. So yeah, one more word. Then to the Jenny Colgan book I read in honour of my dad's birthday. This is 4.5 stars all the way. I wouldn't say it's it is a great book. It's Jenny Colgan. I think I will keep this because I think I might actually want to reread it. But it's set actually again in Scotland. All Jenny's books are set in like the Highlands, the Scottish Highlands, and it's about Morag who ends up going over there and helping, and it talks about aeroplanes, and you've got like when she goes. Born into a family of successful pilots, Morag is used to flying high, but when a tragic accident surrounds her, could her future suddenly be out of reach? And it's a really good contemporary. Jenny Colgan doesn't disappoint. I do like her series books more than her standalones, but this is still very, very good. The aeroplane bit's connected to my dad because my dad loved aeroplanes, so that was why I read it. But yeah, a really good contemporary. And then to a book that's a library book, so that's going to have to go back, and this is my Summer of Magic Moments. I've got 2 library books to talk about here actually. I've got this one and there's another one that I read, but I wouldn't do that in a minute. Yeah. So this is one that's Caroline Roberts. I wanted a summery light book because obviously, not that you believe it at the moment, but we are in summer. So this week's been a bit hit and miss. It's 30 degrees at the start and then grey at the moment. Right. So when a seaside escape spells romance, Claire is ready for a bright new chapter, winding her way to the coast for a cottage retreat. She prays that 3 weeks of blissful summer and summer sunshine will wash away the pain of last year. Claire's a survivor and she's growing proud of the scars to prove it. To me, this has got me started on writing down my magic moments. So every day I'm going to write a magic moment down. It's kind of like my gratitude journal, but little moments. I need to think of yesterday's actually because I forgot to write that down. And I'm putting them in my booktube journal. If you want me to share my magic moments, please let me know. But it is about taking time to sit back and think about what we're grateful for. You know, you guys know this has been the crappiest year ever. So I'm going to start thinking about my magical moments and start celebrating them. But this is a very good cosy contemporary. It does put life into perspective. Another book that I don't have now because I gave back to the library, and that was the Morgan Chumley Spell of Secrets. It's a second book in the series and it's by Katie Birchall. It's a middle grade and it was just what I bloody needed. It is witchy, romancy, middle grade-y, but it's not really romancy, it's middle grade, and it talks about witches and the warlocks, and it's about fun like that. It's middle grade, and it was just the book I needed. Witchy books with middle grade twists was just fun and frolicky and innocent, and I just bloody loved it. It's 4.5 stars, and I'm definitely looking for more of their books in the library. Now to my last 4 stars, I believe, 4.5 stars, and that is The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton. This was a reread, but it was in a different copy, so I didn't count it. So I bought this copy so I could read it. So even though it was a reread, I did buy it, and it does count going down my numbers. And it was really, 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 really good. Actually, I'm going to keep this one because I think I want to reread these 2 books again and again. Because on a reread, it went from 4 stars to 4.5 stars. And it's set in 1686, and it's 18-year-old Nella Ortman arrives at the Grand House in Amsterdam to begin her new journey as the wife of wealthy merchant Johannes Band. Though curiously distant, he presents her with an extraordinary wedding gift, a cabinet-sized replica of their home. Oh my god, this is very, very dark, very depressing, very sad, but it's amazing what a reread can do to you. It can really give you a different perspective on it. So I bloody enjoyed this a lot more, and I love buddy reading it with Charlotte. Right, now to my 5 stars, and I will put this here because then I can go. I also need to write down the other books I'm adding onto my TBR. So I've only got 4 5 stars. I know which one's a favourite. I will straight away tell you which one it is. 2 of these books are series. One of them's a standalone, but they are all books that have really got me, and I blooming love them. The first one is a book that Katie recommended, and I think Katie read this one or the sequel to it for her Patreon group. And this is The Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting. I own 2 copies of this, so if any of my friends would like it, might like this paperback, because I've got the paperback and the hardback. So if anyone wants this copy of it, please let me know and I will send it. I don't know when I'm going to send it because of the school holidays, but I will send it to you if you want this pretty copy. In fact, yeah, just let me know. First person who lets me know, we'll get it. This is The Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting by Sophie Irwin. I've got 2 copies, that's why that's the only reason I'm not keeping it. But it is my favourite book of the month. It's like a Bridgerton size shaped hole in your life. Actually, I will need to let my mum read it first, actually, before I do that. And Kitty Talbot needs a fortune. She's got 12 weeks to find a rich husband and save her sisters. It's Regency, but not with the saucy stuff, which is what I liked. There's no saucy stuff in it. But it's a Regency romance with like a really strong protagonist and the family element and sticking up for her family. And I just really bloody enjoyed it. It was just what I needed. It was another pink book. And it was so much fun, and there's not a day to lose, and no lord will stand in their way. It's like a strong woman who wants to save her family, a strong girl who wants to save her family, and it was absolutely incredible. Like I said, I'm going to let my mum borrow it because I think she would like it, because even though it's Regency, and that's not normally her jam, there's no sauce in it, it's more about family, so I think she would love that, and that's going down as my favourites of the year. Then the second Jennifer Saint book, because I've got Atlanta, and I would like to buy Hero, but I think I'm going to try and wait until Hero comes out in paperback, because I've literally still got Atlanta to read and I've got Electra. I bought this when we were on one of our London trips, and it is 5 stars. I know Jem from Gemma Books didn't like it as much as she liked Ariadne, but it is 5 stars, but I think I still preferred Ariadne, so I would like to know how I feel about Atlanta, because this is bloody tragic. It is like another flipping depressing book. What have I been doing reading depressing books in August? It's Clytemnestra, Cassandra and Electra stories. So Clytemnestra is the sister of Helen, who's the wife of Agamemnon. Her story, her story I didn't know very much about, and I've got Clytemnestra upstairs, a separate book for that, by another author. So I will read that, but probably read it in a bit longer because I need to read this first. Then you've got Cassandra, who's the princess of Troy and cursed by Apollo to see the future. And then you've got Electra, who I'd never read about, and she was the youngest daughter of Clytemnestra and Agamemnon. And Electra is horrified by the bloodletting of her kin, but can she escape the curse, or is her own destiny bound by violence? Very, very, very dark, very compulsive, short chapters, very easy to fly through. Yeah, that's getting kept as well. We've got another keepy one, and then we've got another sad book, but just so inspiring and so good, and that's the next one in the Toshiguro Kawaguchi series. I've got I don't think I've got any more books by this author. I know they've got another book that's coming out in hardback soon. I'm not putting all shit on mine. And this is 4 stories, and this is, I'll tell you who the stories are about. So this is the 4th book. No, I think, yeah, this is the 3rd book. I think there's another one. I don't know if I've got the other one or whether it's that. So the 4 stories are the husband, the farewell, the proposal, and the daughter. Very, very emotional, very, very dark, but it's very sad at times, but also full of hope and full of inspiration, and it gets you thinking about what you'd say to your loved ones that died. And yeah, very, very good. Actually, I'm going to move those. And then to the last in the Heroes of Olympus series, I will straight away telling you that I'm going to be starting the Trials of Apollo series next. Yeah, the Trials of Apollo series is the next one I'm going to be starting, I think, because apparently you've got to start that before you can read some of the standalone books. I think there's also the Kane Chronicles, but I'm not sure if I want to read those or not. So, but yeah, this is the last in the series, so I can't tell you too much, but it ends the series so well. There were some twists in this that I didn't get. It was just, I was reading this with Kat from Brews and Reviews. I bloody loved it. Blew through it. Oh my god, it had all the gods in it. It had everyone's stories in it. It's jam-packed, mahoosive, but one of the best books. I think this could go down as my favourite of the series. So now, I'm just going to try and not to knock this video, not to knock you on my phone down. Sorry about that. I really am working on a table that's quite small. I should have filmed inside, but Thomas wouldn't let me. My son, hey. It's alright, I'm just going to move those bits around because those are my keepy ones. Right, so now I can show you the books that I'm adding onto my TBR. So these are books that I'm adding to my TBR for the month, and knowing me, I will probably add a few more. Sorry about the adjustments. I'm just realising actually I need to doodah that. I need to put that there. Actually, there you go. Right, so now I can get my separate pile. Right, so I've got 3 contemporaries, 3 historical fiction. One of them is a library book, so it will go back and you might not see it in the wrap up. And one of them's a middle grade book. I'll explain everything as I'm going along. So 7 books are being added to it. The first book, because I wanted to try and finish a lot of summer books. You will still get a couple of summer books in September because we may still get like a late summer, you never know. But this one is a Sue Moorcroft book that I got recently, and it's A Summer to Remember. It's about spend summer by the sea, wanted a caretaker at Roundhouse Row across holiday cottages, where Nelson's book bar is a perfect little village nestled away on the Norfolk coast. We can offer no signal, no Wi-Fi and no problems. I'm reading that tonight. I'm getting started on that. That's going on that shelf. That's all I need to know. After reading so many emotional books, I need a book like that will just give me the escape. Then I've been sort of collecting Chrissy Barlow's book series, and this one I've decided to add because I thought I've been putting off like sharing my really good books in this wrap up part 1 and adding books to my TBR. But I thought the whole point of me adding books to showing you these books that I'm adding is they're ones that I hope are going to be amazing. And I've got to stop thinking negatively and stop being worried that people aren't watching this wrap up. This is A Summer Surprise at Little Blue House. So it has got characters in the Lovelock Hot Lane that are in other books, but I don't believe you need to read this series in order. But this is one of the earlier ones. And this is when Bee Fernsby discovers her fiance's eyes have been wandering. She calls off the wedding and hits the road. The little village of Hartcross in the Scottish Highlands is about as far away from home as she can get. And when she stumbles into a beautiful island ideal summer job at the beautiful Little Blue Boathouse and meets the gorgeous vacation heir, Nolan Hemingway, things finally start looking up. It's a summer surprise, it's Chrissy Barlow, I know I'm going to love it. Then to another book that I know I'm going to love because it's Joe Thomas. Yes, I recently bought it, sod it, I'm going to read it straight away. And it's the late Summer in the Vineyard. It's got the word late summer, I'm reading it at the end of the summer. And it is Emmy Bridges, sorry about the noise. Why do people have to come out when I'm bloody filming? Emmy Bridges has always looked out for others. It's time she put down roots of her own. Working for winemaker in France is the opportunity of a lifetime for Emmy, even though she doesn't know a thing about wine, beyond what's on offer at the local supermarket. There's plenty to get grips on in the rustic town of... Oh, I can't say this. It looks good, set in France, late summer, contemporary. Only slight problem is it's mahoosive, it's like 460 pages. I can tell you, well, what's in the other one? That's 355, so that's not as long. What am I doing to myself, eh? Then to a book that I decided to add onto my TBR because me and Kat were planning to read it. And she's like, oh, I wanted to read it this month. I was like, you little beggar. So I'm reading my second buddy read of August with her. And that is Like a Charm by Elle McNichol. This has obviously got disability, I believe. I think it's going to have autism, but it's fantasy, which I love. I believe it's got a sequel, which I know that if I like this, I'm going to want the sequel. Ramya, you've got something this crazy city needs, and it's going to change everything. Edinburgh is a city filled with magical creatures. No one can see them except Ramya Knox. As she's pulled into the family's world of secrets and spells, Ramya sets out to discover the truth about hidden folk, with only 3 words of warning from her grandfather: beware the sirens. This sounds really good. And it's going to be a buddy read with Cat. Thomas is there. 3 more last 3 books, and these are books that, again, I've only bought recently, but you know what, I'm doing this whole sod it thing. I normally been trying to read like my older books on my TBR, but sometimes I want to read the newer ones, so sod it, I'm going to read it. This is Patricia Wilson's The Villa of Secrets. I can't save this for next year. I needed a historical fiction, and this looks summary, so sod it. And it's set in 1944 as the darkest days of the war on the island of Rhodes, and now is the time to unlock the truth. When urgent news from her estranged family sends Rebecca Neumayer back to the beautiful island of her birth, she realises how much she knows of her grandmother and her past. Her brother has never spoken about the Nazi occupation, but there's always been whispers. This looks really good. I'm really looking forward to it. But again, it's 450 pages. What have I done to myself? Then I've got another book. I've heard positive things about this author by people. I think my mum's read it, Rosanna Lee. And this is The Bay of Secrets. So it's historical fiction set partly in Spain it's got dual timelines. Partly in Spain in 1939. To satisfy her parents' wish to keep her safe during the war, Julia is forced to enter a convent in Barcelona. Eager to maintain her links to the outside world, she starts volunteering as in a maternity clinic. But a worrying adoption practices in this clinic force Sister Julia to decide how far she will go to help those placed in her care. And then you've got England 2012. 6 months after her parents' shocking death, 34-year-old journalist and jazz enthusiast Ruby Ray has finally found the strength to pack away her possessions and sell her family home. As she does so, she uncovers the devastating secrets her parents have hidden from her. This is even longer. This is like 520 pages. Oh, blimmin' heck. What have I done to myself? And then last but not least, those kids are looking like they want me to feed them. This is The Book of 5 by Christina Lefty. This is my library book, so you might not physically see it in my wrap-up. But I did like The Beekeeper of Aleppo. I can't remember if I read Songbirds. I think I read Songbirds and like that. This is finally a short book. It's like 300 odd pages. But I don't know too much about it. I think it's set in Greece again, so it's another Greek book set. So they're all books set abroad, historical fiction books set abroad. Once upon a lifetime, there was a beautiful village that held a million stories of love and loss, and of peace and war. And it was swallowed by a fire that blazed the city, a fire that ran all the way down to the sea, where it met with a reflection. A family from 2 nations, England and Greece, live a simple life in the tiny Greek village. Irini, Tasso, and their daughter, Sweet Chara, whose name means joy. Their life goes up in flame in a single day. This could be depressing as fudge, though. So I am wondering what those books are going to be like. Yes, I've added my Who's It books, but I'm doing well with my reading. And I'm going to try, I think the second half of the month, what have I got things to do with those kids? I think we're planning to go to Windsor. I've got some more looking after some children. I don't know what the week's going to bring, what the last 3 weeks of the holiday's going to bring. But let's see what it is, and we'll see what happens. But, so, yeah, you know that my favourite book of the month so far is The Lady's Guide to Fortune Hunting, but I've loved all of the 5 stars. Do hope I read some cheerier books in the second half. Let me know what's your favourite book of the month been so far. I'd love to know. If you got to the end of this video, because of the title of that book, do a fire emoji. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, subscribe, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.